So just a very quick overview of what we're going to be covering this evening. I'm going to be taking you through kind of just a very quick overview of Great Big Green Week if you are new to it, or a recap if you have taken part before. I will introduce our new theme this year. It's kind of building on our theme from last year. And then I'll go through kind of our guidance for organising an event or organising a Green Week. We're then going to have a very quick break. And then I'll introduce Edwina, and she will share her top tips and her experience. And then we'll move into our Q&A. And then I'll be going through some of the resources and further support that's available to help you get involved, and also a quick look at our website and how you can upload your events and all that technical stuff. And then it would be great if at the end you are able to just give a bit of feedback, just a very short Zoom poll to tell us how the session went for you this evening. Before we do get started, it would be great to get a sense of kind of how you're feeling about organising an event in your local area, if you have done before, if you're feeling confident about it or need a bit of support, and whether you've taken part in Great Big Green Week before as well. So I'm just going to share a poll. So this should pop up on your screen. There'll be two questions. One, if you've taken part in Great Big Green Week before or not. And secondly, kind of how confident you're feeling at the moment in terms of coordinating some sort of local activity, just so we can get a sense of how you're feeling before the session and at the end. And this will help us, evaluate kind of if this session is useful, if we need to kind of switch up our content to make it even more useful for you in terms of organising some local activity. So I'm seeing quite a range of responses. We've got more people who haven't been involved in Great Big Green Week, so that's great. Hopefully this session is useful for you. And for those of you who have taken part, hopefully it's a good recap or giving you some things to think about that maybe you didn't consider last year. And a real mix of people feeling super confident in organising an event, but also not confident at all. So hopefully we'll shift all of you to the upper end of the scale by the end of this session. So thank you for taking part in that. Great, I'm going to move us on to the next slide. Thank you for sharing that, Lydia. Apologies if I moved on too quickly from the poll, but it's great to know that you're new to Great Big Green Week, and again, hopefully the session will give you the confidence that you need to get involved. So for those of you who are new to Great Big Green Week, I'm just going to give a very quick overview. It is the UK's biggest ever celebration of action to tackle climate change and protect nature. And every year, we see people come together to host events and activities in their local areas that showcase all the brilliant community projects and the brilliant community work that is happening to create a safer, fairer and greener future. We've seen tours of local wind farms, nature restoration afternoons, mini festivals that really celebrate what's happening locally, clothes swaps, repair cafes, and so much more. And events are really hosted by anyone who cares about their local community and environmental issues, from teachers to sports clubs to artists and local community groups, places of worship, libraries. The list really does go on. And ultimately, it's a week of events in communities, organised by communities all across the country. And this is our 6th year of Great Big Green Week, and it really has been growing since the start. And this year it's going to take place from the 6th to the 14th of June. And this year we really want to showcase that people are coming together for good every day to help create a better tomorrow. And we urgently need politicians to step up and play their part. And by taking action together at the same time, all across the UK, politicians will be unable to ignore that their constituents really care about tackling climate change, protecting nature, and they're already taking action in their local communities. If you didn't know, the Great Big Green Week is organised by the Climate Coalition, which is the organisation that I work for. And we are the UK's largest group of people dedicated to taking action on climate change. We've got over 130 member organisations, and they range from charities, non-profit organisations, community groups, and many more. And you can see just a few of our members on the screen there. And our work mainly focuses on bringing people together from all walks of life to call for action for people, climate, and nature. And whilst the Climate Coalition and our member organisations come together to kind of organise Great Big Green Week and the support and the resources and the messaging that goes around it, it really would be nothing without people like you who are hosting those events, who are engaging their communities on the ground, and getting involved each year. So what has happened so far? As I mentioned, Great Big Green Week is continuing to grow each year. First took place in September 2021, and it was the largest event for climate and nature ever seen in the UK, with 5,000 events taking place, which was just mind-blowing for the first year. And since then, Great Big Green Week has really continued to grow with communities, national organisations, institutions, media outlets coming together in a wave of support for action to protect the planet. And last year, we saw our biggest Great Big Green Week ever with an amazing 1.2 million people taking part. And as I've mentioned, we really do see action all across the UK, from Falmouth to Belfast, Jersey and Anglesey, Rugby to Thurso. These are just a few of the places that get involved. And we really did see that community action happening everywhere. So why take part in something like Great Big Green Week? There are lots of different reasons why you might want to get involved in something like this, but there are three that really stand out for me. And at its heart, Great Big Green Week is really about our communities working together to reshape the systems that we all depend on, from food and energy to how we care for each other to the places that we live in. And this is what real action for climate and nature looks like. It's practical, it's hopeful, it's community powered, and it really is connected to our everyday lives. And we know how much already is happening on that local level outside of Great Big Green Week. And many of the people who get involved use it as a moment to platform and celebrate and really build on what they're already doing to help create a better world for us and for future generations. And it really is the perfect opportunity to get your project or your local group noticed by more people in your community, get media coverage and additional support for your activities, and get more people involved in already existing local initiatives. Another reason to get involved is to work together with others in your community and to create those new opportunities as well as the ones that are already existing. So we see people getting involved who haven't been involved in environmental action before, linking it to other issues that they care about, and joining up with other groups that are existing or more experienced groups or organisations to help them take part and get involved for the first time. And last year, over two-thirds of our event organisers actually said that they didn't consider themselves a green organisation. And over a third of the people attending events hadn't actually been to a climate and nature event before. So we're really seeing that Great Big Green Week creates the space and the opportunities to take action in a way that works for you, to really highlight the issues that are important to you and your community and build relationships with new people in your local area, which in turn we hope will lead to kind of new supporters and volunteers for local initiatives and projects, and even people leading on brand new things as well. And lastly, we really need politicians to take action as well as all the amazing things that are happening in communities, to back the choices that protect what matters most and to help the UK play its part in tackling climate change. We need them to make decisions to help restore nature and support communities here and around the world who are already facing climate change impacts. And Great Big Green Week, it really is that opportunity to show politicians that you as constituents want to see action from the government that creates a cleaner, healthier and fairer future. And with the numbers growing in Great Big Green Week every year, it really is a moment to call for action that is impossible for decision makers to ignore. So yeah, it creates that real opportunity to engage, shows them the work that's already happening and that there is that appetite for even more to happen, and ensure that climate and nature and environmental issues are at the top of their agenda. Now, I know I'm whizzing through stuff, so if you do have any questions, please do pop them in the chat. I'm just gonna bring it up quickly so I don't miss anything. Okay, great. Because we will come back to those questions later. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about our overarching theme for Great Big Green Week. So for the past few years, we've had a theme to tie all the action across that happens across the UK and all our comms and media work, tie it all together. And for the last couple of years, our theme was Let's Swap Together for Good. And this year, we're kind of opening that up a little bit more. And the theme is Together for Good. So this theme is going to be, as I mentioned, a shared theme running throughout all aspects of Great Big Green Week. And we've chosen to kind of simplify it because we feel that this really reflects a simple truth that when people come together in their communities, they create real practical benefits for local places, for nature, for climate, and for our shared future. From small everyday actions to bigger community events, Great Big Green Week is making that collective action visible that we are taking together for good. So the theme is going to be used, as I mentioned, by us in kind of our overarching messaging. It will be used in our communications, our member communications, media stories, working with our partners, and lots more. But you might be thinking, kind of how you can help, how you can bring this theme to life through your events and what it means for you as an organizer. And we hope that the theme will help you kind of clearly explain what you're doing and why it matters. Connect your local activity to something bigger happening across the country and really feel like you're part of that national moment. And showcase the good that your actions are creating and really focusing on those positive, hopeful stories. So you can use the theme to think about what kind of event you'd want to run when you're talking about Great Big Green Week on social media or in your local area, and to help frame local promotion and media. And that alongside kind of Great Big Green Week being mentioned, but that theme of Together for Good running throughout the stories that are popping up in all different places, it really just helps to kind of build that momentum and build that moment. And the more action happening locally, the bigger that national impact. So we're really seeing through this week in June that these aren't isolated acts. They're part of a growing movement of collective action. And communities have been coming together for good as part of Great Big Green Week since 2021. And we hope that more communities will continue to get involved and make it an even bigger moment as we all come together for our communities and for our planet. So the kind of whistle-stop tour of Great Big Green Week is now over, and I'm going to take you through kind of the why we're here for this training session this evening, all about kind of how to organise an event and a Green Week. So there are lots of ways that you can get involved in Great Big Green Week, you know, attending events, taking part on social media, and more. But the ones we're going to focus on today are these two. So you can organise just one event for Great Big Green Week, and it can be as big or as small as you want or that you can manage. It's really open for people to get involved in any way that works for them. It can be an event with just you and your neighbours, or it can incorporate kind of the whole city that you live in. So the scale is really broad, but it's getting involved in a way that works for you and is important to your community. That's the main thing. And you can organise just one event or multiple. And then the other thing to think about is organising a local Green Week. So I kind of use the analogy of a market and the stalls. So, for example, there might be 15 events taking place in Stirling from the 6th to the 14th of June. And whether these events are organised by the same organisation or separate organisations coming together. They can all be branded under a local Green Week. So Stirling's Big Green Week, for example. So the Green Week is like the overarching market, and the events are kind of like the stalls that would be hosted as part of that. So they are that's an overview of kind of the different ways that you can think about events versus Green Weeks. So I'm firstly going to talk you through organising an event. Some of you may have planned events before. As we saw from the poll, there's lots of ranging scales of confidence, but I'm not going to run through kind of a step-by-step of how to plan your event, because the planning timelines and the type of event and the way you want to organise your event will vary from place to place, and also depending on the event itself, as everyone will have different approaches. But I'm going to give you kind of some overarching things to think about that will hopefully help you get started. So the first thing to consider is obviously what type of event you would want to hold. And we have are going to throw out some prompt questions to get you thinking about this, and kind of you might be thinking, where do I start? One thing to consider is what events do well in your community already. Are there things you've seen that are really popular, that you would either like to get involved in or replicate? But also, what could you do more of? Is there something that you really care about that you haven't seen being kind of acted on, or people getting involved in an event in your local area before? Is there something that you feel like there's an issue in your local community that you could rally people around a bit more? How could this event, again, kind of help make your local area a better place to live while spreading the word about taking action on climate change? As I mentioned, kind of many people are already doing things in their own lives and in their communities to help take action on climate and nature. Could you bring these to life through a Great Big Green Week event? So, for example, you might just have your own personal local allotment. Could you get friends and family and neighbours together just for a local event to showcase how they could, be growing their own local seasonal veg? That might spark some action just within your kind of immediate sphere. Or if you're good at repairing clothes or repairing items, you might want to host kind of a party on your local street where people can share their skills and things like that as well. So it doesn't have to be huge. It can be in your immediate sphere, but there might be bigger things that you want to rally more people around in your community. You could think about kind of what could help your community connect and support each other in the face of other challenges that people are facing, nature loss, the cost of living crisis, things like that. And to help you, if you're looking for some tools to help you kind of figure out what people might be doing in your local community already, or some of the challenges that people are facing, or things that are impacting your local community. We do have a tool called the Local Intelligence Hub, which can help you do some research on your local area, what issues people care about, what groups are already taking action, and you can use some of these statistics to tailor your Great Big Green Week event. But also a great way to kind of figure out what people do care about is just going out there and having conversations. And we do have a separate training on kind of outreach and how to map your community, which will be taking place later on in the year. But I'll share a link to all the upcoming trainings at the end of this session. Next, thinking about who can help bring this event to life and help you organise an event. So is there anyone who has an interest in the event you'd like to hold, or have knowledge about the subject that you're wanting to focus on, who might have resources to help you? How can you best include your community? And again, who has the power to kind of help you do this? It could be individuals, it could be community groups, local businesses, local authorities. Do you already have connections with other people, groups, or organisations in your local area that are working on environmental issues? And could you kind of encourage them to host something? Or where might you need to build those new connections? Next up is thinking about kind of how long you have to organise your event. You might just be thinking of, do I want to take part in Great Big Green Week? And you might start planning your event a bit later down the line. You might be ready to get going now. So just thinking about the type of event that you hold and how long you will have to organise it, and that might impact what you decide to do. Um, and also deciding when you want to host the event. The Great Big Green Week covers 2 weekends and also during the week. So you might want to host your event on a weekend to capture a wider audience, or you might be thinking of kind of, you might know when a certain community group or a certain group of people in your local area are available and you want to make that really accessible and open for them. So you might want to host it at a different time. But once you've kind of got an idea of what you want to do and how long you've got to organise it, you can start kind of then building out your timeline for organising your event. And we do have an overarching kind of organisers checklist in our written organising guide, which I'm going to share at the end of this session, sorry, in the follow-up to this session. So feel free to kind of print that out and have that overarching checklist with you to help you kind of keep you on track. Next, you might want to think about kind of the resources and the budget that you'll need to bring this event to life. So where your event is going to take place, if you'll need equipment or resources to host your event. And again, thinking about whether there are people in your local community that can donate or lend materials or potentially lend some funding for you to access the equipment or resources that you need. You might also want to think about promotional materials and getting the word out there. So thinking about where you want to share that message, whether it's online or in person or both, which is the best way to do it. We also have some physical branding packs that we can send you if you are organising an event, but I'll come on to those a bit later and how you can sign up for them. Oh, apologies. I think we've got a couple of people in the waiting room that I'm just going to let in. Great. Another thing that's kind of been a thread throughout what I've been talking about is just to really check in with people in your community and have a look on kind of local forums, on local billboards, what kind of things are already being advertised and already going on. It might be that, which we'll come on to next, is that you can just bring all those events together and create a local Green Week of existing things that are already happening. Or you could reach out to groups to partner with them for Great Big Green Week specifically, or encourage groups who do things regularly to do something specifically for Great Big Green Week as well. And lastly, just thinking about inviting your local politicians along to your event and how they can not only come along as attendees, but be involved in the actual event itself. So we know that kind of in 2024, we saw a new government elected and it really shifted the political landscape with opportunities for change. And this year, we've got elections in Scotland and Wales in May, and also local government elections in England this year. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to kind of engage with new elected officials, invite them to those community events, get them to see what is happening firsthand, and really make sure that climate and nature is on their agenda from the start. Also, politicians really do need that public support for climate and nature to be top of their agenda. So inviting your local politicians is a really powerful way to help bring about that change that we need to see. When our local politicians see that action happening in communities, it really helps to kind of paint the picture of what people care about and what's possible when communities are supported to take this action and lead. So Great Big Green Week offers kind of a friendly, accessible, and a bit of a different way to help you make those connections with your local politicians. We will have another dedicated written guide and some training to help you really think about and delve into kind of the roles that a politician could play at your event, how you can get them along, and why it's important to kind of engage them in something like Great Big Green Week. We know that, sorry, Great Big Green Week is as I've mentioned, all about kind of what is at the heart of your communities, and you know them best, and what events and activities are going to get people engaged. But we know it's also helpful to kind of have some ideas of things you might want to do just to get kick-started if you need some inspiration or get creative ideas going. So there are kind of some three kind of idea buckets that I thought I would share with you this evening, just to kind of get you thinking. Firstly, it's thinking about action orientated events. So you could think about things like beach cleans or gardening sessions, creative and cooking workshops, building up people's skills in repair cafes, what local initiatives could do with more volunteers that people could really get stuck in and help out with, or skills that people want to develop where people can um, try out those skills and hone them in workshops and really get involved in something on the ground. The next is thinking about things like talks and showcases. So we've seen things like talks and showcases on what's possible for renewable energy, but also showcasing renewable energy initiatives in the local area, whether that's what people are doing in their homes, but also in schools and other community buildings. We've also seen things like climate conversation cafes to just bring people together to talk about climate change, how they're dealing with it, how it makes them feel, but also, you know, what people want to see done locally about it, and just open up that space for conversation as a starting point. We've also seen things like panel discussions and interviews with environmental authors that you could host at a local library or a local business centre or something like that. So thinking about, yeah, more of that conversational panel discussion or showcases type of event. And lastly, thinking about how you can create something for everyone through Great Big Green Week. So you could get sports organisations involved. You could host film screenings, get local schools involved, bring in some kind of joy and fun through food festivals or singing or theatre performances. We really have seen all of this through Great Big Green Week, and they don't have to be standalone things. They can interlink. You can have a beach clean with a choir singing at the end of it, or how you can bring different things together. It really is open to all the creativity that you've got to throw at it. And again, we've got lots of written guides, which I'm going to run through at the end properly, but we've got a whole A to Z of ideas for you. So if you do need some more inspiration, we have a whole list of ideas for events and some examples of what groups have done before. So you can delve into kind of what's been done. Um, I am going to wrap up soon and we are going to have a break. I know I've been doing a lot of talking at you, and we're going to hear from Edwina very shortly. But this is coming to the end now of this section. So similarly to with organising an event, I'm not going to give you a step-by-step for organising a Green Week, but just some overarching things to think about. Even if there are just 2 or 3 events in your local area, you've got yourself a local Green Week. But we have seen just how many different types of events you can organise. So you might see lots popping up in your local area, or you might be inspired to kind of encourage people to organise different things depending on their strengths and their interests. So you can bring them all together under the banner of a local Green Week. And I think I've mentioned this, but if you did want to coordinate a local Green Week, and that's kind of the direction you want to go in, you won't be responsible for organising all the events yourselves. You might want to, and of course you're welcome to do that. But we really encourage that kind of you think about how you can build up a team and get some support around you and coordinate that local hub of activity. So the first kind of bit of guidance is again thinking about what's already happening where you are. I've touched on this quite a lot, so I won't spend too much time on it, but what's already happening out there? Are there already existing events? Are there groups that are already organising things? during the week or that could be put on specifically for Great Big Green Week as an extension to what they're already doing, bringing those already planned things together. There also might be kind of other festivals or other big moments taking place in your local area that already happen. Could you join up with them? There's so much crossover with um, arts and health and sport and lots of other things that happen in our communities. That are feeling the impacts of climate change. So the opportunities for crossover are usually always there. So seeing how you can make the most of things that are already happening. Um, the second point, which I've touched on, is kind of getting a coordinating team together. So even if it's just a couple of you, it's a good idea to kind of have some people working with you so that you can split up coordination and different roles. And some of the roles that you might want to have within your Green Week team are things like outreach, so someone responsible for doing that research and reaching out to new people to get involved or existing groups. You might have someone thinking about promotion and comms, posting things on social media, setting up or utilizing the Great Big Green Week website, seeing how and where you can promote things locally, and also thinking about coordination, someone kind of being that overarching project management role. When are things happening? Who's organizing them? And coming up with that program of events. And the third point is just thinking again about who else can you get involved. So it doesn't just have to be kind of local climate groups. Think about a broad range of community groups and where you might engage with people daily, but maybe not think about kind of getting them involved in something like Great Big Green Week. So starting with people you know, friends, family, neighbours, work colleagues, if people have skills that they might want to share or interests that they've always wanted to kind of showcase, this might be a great opportunity for that. Apologies, I'm just going to let some more people in from the waiting room. And then thinking about widening your circle. Again, I've mentioned kind of the different types of groups that or sectors that might cross over with Great Big Green Week. But just some more thinking about kind of scouts and girl guides, sports clubs, refugee groups, community choirs. Any kind of other group can help bring in new ideas and perspectives. I also mentioned at the start that the Climate Coalition has a number of member organisations, and you can have a look to see who these member organisations are on our website. But you might have kind of a local RSPB group or a national trust property that you can get involved in Great Big Green Week, and they might already be organising something, but they might not, and your reaching out to them might inspire to do something as well, and then they can potentially support the local community to get involved as well. So do have a look at who our members are, and if they have local presence, or you want to get them involved in something that you're doing locally. And lastly, to think about getting the local council on board. Lots of local councils host their own things for Great Big Green Week or can support individuals or community groups through funding or supporting with resources. So do reach out to your local council and see if they're planning to get involved, if they know about Great Big Green Week, or they'd be willing to kind of support you in some way. I know that was a kind of a lot of information in one go, and these are just some initial ideas to think about when planning a Green Week. If you are planning activity, please do pop your ideas in the chat. It would be really great to know who's already planning something, who's got started, who is thinking about doing something. And it also might be a good chance to connect with other people. You might find that there are other people from your local area or a similar area here wanting to get involved. So yeah, do use the chat to reach out and share your ideas. And I mentioned our organizer guide. There is a lot more detail in that guide, and you can read through it at your own kind of pace and have that there with you when you're organizing every step of the way. So I'm going to share that in the follow-up email. So please do read through it. I'm going to hand over to Edwina from Totally Leighton Buzzard, who are a group that have been involved in Great Big Green Week for the past 3 years and have always had an amazing program of events. So Edwina is here to share her experience taking part, talk to you about the things that they have done for Great Big Green Week, and some words of wisdom for you. So Edwina, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me? Um, yeah, great. I'm in my car, so apologies for that because I've taken my son to a scout group this evening. And Jazz has control of the slides, which is great. So I'm Edwina Osborne. So Totally Leighton Buzzard, who are we? We're a community-led, independent, local voluntary group. So I set up the group initially in September 2020, not long after I'd moved to Leighton Buzzard. And we're run by local residents, for local residents. We're focused on practical, community-based sustainability. That's in that picture there. That's the group of us when we set up a repair cafe in March 2023, and we've been going strong ever since then. We're tapped into national and international community repair networks. We've got strong links with the Restart project, and we're also trying to set up a library of things. So if you go on to the next slide, Jazz, then that will show you, fantastic. We run a monthly repair cafe session in Leighton Buzzard. Our next one is this Saturday. As I say, we're trying to set up a library of things, but we've been kind of stymied by a venue for that. But that's looking slightly more positive this year. So fingers crossed on that. And then in support of wider community initiatives, as Jazz says, for the past 3 years, I've been involved with Great Big Green Week and other campaigning initiatives. The next slide, I'm not sure whether it will work, but hopefully it will, maybe not. Okay,
I don't
that's
think
great.
we can play the video,
Right.
Edwina. Sorry, we might have to skip
Well,
to the next slide.
I will share the link to that afterwards. And this is
Perfect.
why I did
Thank
the following slide instead, because I wasn't too sure if it was on my computer. You could probably have seen it, but this was the program for last year. And as you'll see, it was very, very busy. I had a challenge to cram everything on to the Great Big Green Week kind of poster things. And then this is just a selection of some of the activities that we did last year. So we had the local church has always done an activity during Great Big Green Week, and they had a Love Nature in the churchyard fun day and plant sale. There's a wonderful guy who kind of got interested in making instruments out of veg, and I've just kind of encouraged him, and that led on to bigger and better things with another community group where he made sounds out of all sorts of random just stuff that he found in a former retail unit that where there was a community collective of people, and so we had the making of vegetable instruments. The council have been involved with doing litter picks, swapping a clothes swap, and then a make do and mend kind of session, and then the community energy group last year held an event promoting energy use, community energy use. And then I also managed to link up with the co-op champion as well. There were lots of other events which I couldn't squeeze onto that, and I encourage you to watch the little video afterwards. What else did we have? I organised a talk by an author of a book on eco renovation. A local cycling group held some cycling training sessions. The local LGBT group held a walk. The Ramblers did a walk. So it was a real mixture of different community groups getting involved, and it was the best one yet, really. So you might think that's a lot, and it was, but for you guys who are starting out, if you're my main thing that I would encourage you to start to think about is start with why you want to get involved with Great Big Green Week. I mean, yes, there's all, you know, we we're all motivated by what's happening with the climate and green issues, but you might have your own personal aims and objectives as well, either individually or as part of the groups that you're involved with. And I think it's important to acknowledge what you would get out of it as the group or the individual person being involved, because we put effort into things that we enjoy doing and that align with our goals as well. So you need to think, what's your outcome, your own personal or group outcome from your own Great Big Green Week program. And then the second big thing that I would say is know your community as well. So know, so you do a little matrix and map out who are some people that you know. If it's one or two people, that's fine. It doesn't need to be hordes of people, because you build up contacts over time. And much of the program from last year was just relying on one or two local groups. At the end of the day, it wasn't. I don't know everybody in my community, but it does help that over the years I've built up some contacts. Know about venues and spaces. I should also make clear, we weren't running every single activity and every single session, though I did try to go along to most of them. Think about what other resources, materials, skills, funding there are locally as well. Be realistic. Not everybody has capacity to do everything. And the key thing for me at the moment is low effort, high impact, is the main thing to emphasize there. But yeah, I think it helps. Maybe it helps in terms of the community, knowing my town. With the setup, we have obviously our main high street. It's still a relatively smallish community where people still know each other, although the town has massively expanded over the past couple of years with new estates on the edge of town. And not everybody knows each other as much as they used to, but that, if you are in one of those communities, capitalize on the connections that you do have, and who you think might be able to support you. And then in terms of building, and the next thing I wanted to emphasize was building a balanced program. So I know that I'm mindful that Great Big Green Week, there's lots of things going on in June. It's the month of community in June. People are busy, like myself, in my own time. I work 4 days a week. I don't know what's going to be happening come June. I don't know whether I work in public appointments, I should say, for central government. So often my day job is very, very busy. And so I don't know if I'm doing a public appointments campaign at that time. So you want to plan ahead, and do focus on doing one or two smaller events, maybe one anchor event. Make use of the ideas that Jazz has shared, or where you've pulled other ideas from other avenues as well. And most importantly, do what's manageable for you as well. And then the key to anything as well, apart from a good plan, and I am not really a good planner, but I try to be, is communication. Sometimes that comes more easily some years than others. Last year, to be honest, was a bit of a struggle, but I still managed to get things out there. So I like the posters that Great Big Green Week provide. Make use of their resources. We've got a very good social media presence as a group, but social media is changing. But just tap into whatever there is out there, local newsletters, local press, communicate your story. And as I say, do what you can and what's manageable through communicating. But if you don't tell people, people won't come. and make sure you're not the only person communicating as well. That's something else that I try to encourage other people who are involved. Make sure they're spreading the word as much, so the onus isn't only on you as well. Uh, and then I think wrapping up as well. Um, and I mean, this is more for me. It's more of a nice to do because sometimes it's not possible just due to time factors. But in an ideal world, I think it's important to gather feedback, celebrate success, and then if you have if you do run Great Big Green Week events in future years, identify what worked last time. You don't have to do everything the same each year, and also try to maintain your relationships that you built up over previous years as well. I think that's my last slide. I might have another one. Oh yeah, top tips, top tips. Yeah, these are very, very, very important. So don't worry about everything being perfect. So each year I think is just there's a different vibe each year. Um, so last year was particularly good. Um, but also I'm mindful that one of the key people that was involved last year sadly died in the autumn. So I've got to build up new relationships with some of the volunteers from the group that she was involved with, and she was so proactive. So this year will be totally different because that lady's not involved. Um, as I say, you don't have to approach hordes and hordes of people. Um, do what works for you and your area, and I just say go for it. don't don't be put off about um, thinking, oh, it's too big or something. Do what's manageable and do what's right for you, and don't be daunted by it because whatever you do will be great. My lights got off, so never mind. And that's those are some links to our group if you want to check it out. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, I'm on LinkedIn and you're very welcome to get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook as well, but you can reach out to me in various ways and I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Thank you so much, Edwina, for yeah, sharing what you've done, sharing some top tips. I think definitely resonate with everything you said, especially about kind of um, don't try and get everything perfect because whatever you do locally will be brilliant. Any community action is is great, it's needed, it's welcomed. Um, and the great thing about Great Big Green Week is that doing it alongside people all over the country, every piece of community action adds up to make this massive moment. So yeah, it's all important and do what's best for you, your community, what you care about. And I think the Leighton Buzzard programme of events definitely always reflects that. So yeah, thank you, Edwina. Um, we have got a bit of time now for questions. We've got a couple that I picked up in the chat, which we'll come to, but I was just wondering if anyone has any specifically for Edwina, just in case, Edwina, you need to head off. If anyone does have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, but I've also feel free to raise your hand and you can come off mute and ask them and just have a bit of a conversation as well. I know it's sometimes nice to use our words rather than the virtual chat. So yeah, please do um, raise your hand if you do have any questions. Okay, if no one has any questions, Thank you so much again, Edwina, for joining us. Feel free to stick around for the rest of the session, head off if you need to. But it's been lovely having you here, and thank you so much for sharing your top tips. I am going to share all the links on the slides in the follow-up emails, just so you have direct access to them. Um, but I'm also going to share the slides as well. So if you want to look back over them, you can. Great. I'm just going to pick up on some of the questions I saw in the chat, which were around film screenings and um, getting kind of permissions for film screenings, making you sure that you've got the right permissions and things to share the film. So I am actually going to share some information about an organisation that we have come across this year, which is some of you may have already come across them, but they're called Cinema for All, and they support local groups and local people to host community film screenings. So they have a whole specific guide on how to run a film screening. I believe they do some trainings on it as well. And I think they would be much better placed for going into the details of organising a film screening than myself. So what I'll do is I'll make sure I follow up with their website and some of the resources that they've shared with us. So if you are planning on doing a film screening, there is specific support out there to help you from the resources to, I believe there's training as well. And in terms of suggestions for film screenings, we are actually going to be having um, a specific film that's been offered to us for Great Big Green Week, specifically for Great Big Green Week organisers. And really frustratingly, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I believe it's a French film, and it's all about kind of a family's connection and story of their connection with nature. It's a really beautifully put together film. And yeah, we're being offered this in partnership with the filmmakers for to be offering that to Great Big Green Week organisers as an option for a film screening. We also have a list of some examples of what you might want to share for film screenings, and I know that they are possible because we've seen other Great Big Green Week organisers use them. So unless there've been any changes, I believe it's still fine to share those as a community screening. So I'll send round both of those resources afterwards if that is helpful. And I've seen people sharing some suggestions in the chat as well. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions for some good film screenings, please do pop them in the chat. Any other questions before I jump back into some final things to consider and then information on some other support? Okay, great. Um, oh, Rachel, I've just seen your question about community fridges. Would that be for setting one up, Rachel? I don't have any specifically, but if anyone in this session does, please do share any. But if not, I am in touch with a few groups from different places across the UK who have set up a community fridge and who run them. So I can reach out to them for some resources or some information, or even if they'd be happy to kind of be connected with yourself, Rachel, just to share some information and some guidance. Amazing. Okay, I'll make a note of that and I'll follow up later this week. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. And hopefully you can all see this. Just going to grab that. Okay. So alongside kind of all the things that myself and Edwina have shared this evening, just wanted to draw your attention to a couple of final things. And I believe Edwina has touched on all of these, but just wanted to share some more. So using the Great Big Green Week branding, as well as your own branding for your events or your local group um, is a really key part to let people know in your local area, but also if any of your stories are captured in media or local blogs, that your event was part of Great Big Green Week, um, and so that we can really amplify and showcase how much action does happen across the UK and how many people are out there putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of work into organising these events and bringing their community together. So the more Great Big Green Week branding and the more we can shout about Great Big Green Week, the more we can have that bigger impact and really get climate and nature at the top of our um, elected officials' agendas. Um, so one suggestion that we have is really simply just to use the Great Big Green Week logo on anything that you're creating, whether that be digitally or printing it off and sticking it onto things. We have a organisers comms pack, which has our logo, the template posters that Edwina was talking about, and some other assets to help you share and use the branding. So I'll again be sure to link the comms pack in the follow-up email, but it's very easy to access. But if you do need any support, just reach out to me and I can help you kind of work through it. Um, we also have a physical branding pack that is available to order. This is going to be available to order. I think you can actually start placing orders now. So it's a pack full of a few bits of bunting, some posters that explain what Great Big Green Week are, but also some empty posters as well for you to write in about your events and place them up in your local area. And you're welcome to kind of make copies of these, print even more out if you need them. So they're free, so please do make use of them. Another thing to think about is promotion. So once you've got your branded promotional and event materials, you can start getting the word out there. Some things to consider are kind of who are any key individuals or groups that need to know about your event. So, for example, if you're arranging a litter pick, do you need to notify your local council or a body in charge of waste disposal? But also, they might be able to help promote that event as well if they know that it's happening. Who can really make your event impactful? Are there any kind of really prominent local organisations or businesses that you could get in touch with to help promote your event? But also working with kind of your local council and councillors and MPs, getting them involved can help you kind of attract both media attention, but also bring in more people to your event as well. As Edwina mentioned, kind of creating a really key but clear and simple events program to let people know what's going on locally. And how can you utilize media? So social media, local media, physical media, newspapers, local radio, any ways you can think of to spread the word and reach people in your local area, but also potentially outside of your usual audience as well. And just to say, I'll come on to this in a sec, but when you can upload your events to the Great Big Green Week website, and this will create a link for your event page. So if you don't want to set up a website or you don't need to set up kind of a sign up form and you just want a page where you can direct people to for information, if you input all the information on our website, it creates that event page for you. So please do make use of that. And I'll come on to adding your events on our website in a bit. And lastly, on funding, we know that funding is such a big aspect of organising local activity and events, and it can be quite difficult to secure funding. And unfortunately, we don't have any kind of central funding pot to support your local events. But what we do want to do is support you in other ways as much as we can with sourcing and applying for funding for Great Big Green Week events, but also wider community initiatives. So on our website, we have a written guide with guidance on kind of the different types of funding that are available for community events and initiatives. Lots of guidance on applying for them, how to make the most of your application form, and some examples of what is out there. We recently ran a training session all about how to apply for funding. And that recording is available on our website. So please do watch it back. We had some brilliant speakers from a local authority. We had someone from Kew Gardens Grow Wild programme, and also a previous Great Big Green Week organiser who works with their local council to distribute small pots of funding for people who want to get involved in their Great Big Green Week. So always worth checking in with your local council, but there are lots of other avenues as well. And lastly, we have a funding page on our website, which we try to update as much as we can, but there are lots of different funding opportunities out there from ongoing ones, but also ones that are within a certain time frame. So do keep the link handy and just keep checking back to that page as we're trying to highlight as many of those as possible for you. Some other support available. This event this evening has been kind of about overarching ideas and guidance for organising an event and a Green Week, but we also have lots of other training sessions available and coming up. So just a few of them are we run some networking sessions and drop-in sessions. So these are chances for you just to come along, ask any questions of myself, but also an opportunity to meet other people who are getting involved in Great Big Green Week, share learnings and challenges, ask each other questions. And it's just an open space for you to come along and bring whatever you want to bring to that session. We don't usually have a set agenda. So you can bring your questions. And also, if you just want to come and meet some new people, they're a great space to do that. So we're running at least 5 in the lead up to Great Big Green Week, and they are on our training page already. So please do have a look. Our first one is actually tomorrow, 12 till 1. So it might be a bit short notice for anyone here to come to, but if you are free and you do have some more questions, please do come along. But if not, we've got at least one once a month in the lead up to Great Big Green Week. We also have training on how to work with and engage your local media, guidance on writing press releases and things like that. We have training on how to engage your MP from inviting them to your event, but also to be part of your event. We have training on how to promote your local events. So a bit of guidance on kind of how to use our promotional templates, how to reach out to different avenues and different people in your local community. So we've got lots of different training sessions to help you with different parts of planning your Great Big Green Week event. We are also running a new training session this year, all about kind of how to tell that story. And I think Edwina touched on it. If you do have time to think about the impact that your events have had, gathering data and information to follow up with people, and really capture kind of the stories that take place at your event. So you can then use those to kind of inspire people to get involved the next year, or again, kind of use that to tell those stories to your local media or to your local politicians to continue that momentum after Great Big Green Week and really showcase all the amazing work that you do during the week. And for every training session that we run, we usually have a written guide that goes along with it, with a bit more information and examples of kind of template wording that you can use for promotional materials or for press releases or for inviting your MP along. So our first round of resources have been a bit delayed, but they're coming this week. And then everything will be added to our resources page. So do keep an eye on that page for upcoming resources and things that will support you to get involved. I'm just going to have a look at the chat because I can see some things coming in here, just making sure I've not missed any questions. Okay, great. I might come back to some of these after, but no questions at the moment. So just to touch on our Great Big Green Week website. So we're currently making some updates based on previous organizer feedback on kind of our organisers hub. And here, so on the Great Big Green Week website, you can sign up for an account, which then allows you to access your organisers hub. This is where you can add your Great Big Green Week events. We really do ask and encourage everyone that does host an event to put it on the Great Big Green Week website, because this is how we track the activity that's happening locally. It's how we can showcase to politicians, but also to potential partners and other people that we want to get involved in climate and nature action to really showcase how much is happening across the country. And this is our main way of tracking that activity. So we do ask that you upload your events to the website. Um, there's just there's a hub where you can then manage your events. So once you've added them, you can go in and edit and share links, and you'll always have access to what you've added to the website. So if a date changes or you've made a mistake, you can also go back and access them quite easily. And then it also just has the links to the resources page, the training and networking page, and the funding page, just all there for easy access. But the main thing is how to add your events. And oh, I'm skipping through too quickly. So just an example of what kind of the map looks like. You can see here that you can add kind of a single event, or you can add your overarching green week that you can then link your single events to. So if you did want kind of a very kind of easily produced program of local events, if you upload your Green Week page and then upload all your events as part of that Green Week, your overarching Green Week will also have a web page that you can then share the link to so people can find out all the details of your events, where they're taking place, the time, any contact information that you want to share. So you can all have it in one place and you don't need to kind of create your own website unless you've got your own one already. And you can see here just an example of the pins on the map and what they look like. So you can add online events and in-person events. The in-person events will pop up in the specific location on the map, and the online events will just be listed below the map, I believe in date order. Um, yeah, this is just an example of a local Green Week that's been added. But please do make use of the website and add all your events, because it is a great way for us to kind of track what is happening, and for you to use as a promotional resource as well. Just to say thank you so much again to Edwina for coming along, and thank you to yourselves for coming along this evening, and for getting involved in Great Big Green Week. It's been so lovely to see your plans, see each other interacting in the chat and sharing ideas. This is definitely what Great Big Green Week is all about. So yeah, thank you so much for coming along. I hope you found it useful. It seems that the confidence poll has shifted towards the higher end, so that's really great to see. So yeah, thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.